Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today we are creating this makeup look. I have an event this evening and the theme is a garden cocktail party. It is the Austin Women's Way Awards, which is basically hosted by Austin Women Magazine, and they recognize women entrepreneurs and leaders in our community. So I'm super excited about it. I got a table, I've got our BK Beauty team there, and I got a couple girlfriends coming along. So really excited. I am wearing this dress by Lulu's, these earrings. So I kind of thought I would put the whole outfit on, do my makeup. It is 12:30 and the event doesn't start till 6. So I wanted this makeup to last all day. Typically, I like to apply my makeup for an event later in the day, closer to like when I'm leaving. But in this case, I didn't want to apply my makeup for a video and then apply it later. So I thought we would just film this video showing you how I'm getting ready, and I want to focus on products that are gonna last all day because again, this makeup has to last until 9 o'clock tonight. So if you wanna see how I got this look, then let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So first I'm gonna start with foundation, and today I'm gonna use the Lancome Stick Foundation. I've been loving this foundation. It's really long wearing. Right now it's noon. My event doesn't start until 6 and then it goes until about 9, and it's humid, it's raining today, so I want to make sure that my foundation is going to stay on my face. And I'm going to put a little more than I normally do. I normally do not put this much, but I want to have flawless coverage and the whole, made up look. So I'm going to put that all over. I'm going to use the 106 brush to blend it out. And because I have so much on it, I'm starting actually sweeping and blending it out versus pressing. I always talk about how pressing you're going to get the most coverage from your product, but because I put so much on my skin, more than I normally do, I put about twice as much foundation as I normally start with. I'm gonna just go ahead and sweep it because I can afford for it to be a little bit more natural. Now I'm gonna call this out right now because you guys will probably notice my scalp is all white. I don't think I did. I overloaded on the dry shampoo today. I'm hoping that it, darkens up with my natural oils throughout the day. My hair today I should have washed it. It was one of those days where I should have washed my hair, but because one, I don't like my hair the first day I wash it. It's kind of frizzy. My hair is really coarse and thick, so it just looks frizzy. And I didn't want that look tonight. Plus it's humid outside, so I'm like, no, that's a recipe for a bad hair day. So I just layered on the dry shampoo. And I used Aveda's dry shampoo. It's a powder. I find that the powders work the best. The sprays they're the best when your hair is really dirty and oily. The sprays, I have a few sprays that I like, and those are good when it's like next day or maybe second day. But today is Wednesday and I washed my hair on Saturday night. That was the last time I washed my hair. So I've exercised almost every day since then. So my hair was real dirty. The sprays would have just made it look, worse, and I needed something to really dry it out. Okay. Oh, that foundation is so nice. I love this foundation. I know many of you guys don't like it compared to the original, but I gotta say, it works great for me. I don't know what it is. I really like it. I had this little guy right here that popped up yesterday, and I don't know why I thought it would be a good idea to try and pick at it. It's never a good idea to pick at it. Why is it so tempting though? It's like we know picking at a blemish is not, it's a bad idea, but we still do it. Okay, for concealer, I'm using the Pat McGrath concealer. I am shade LM9 and I just love this concealer. It is possibly my favorite concealer. I don't know. It is really good and I always go to it. It gives great coverage. It doesn't look heavy. It stays on all day. And I think the color is just perfect for me. It brightens under the eye, but it doesn't look too light. It's just good. It is good, you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of blend that in. And I also like to definitely get the inner corner because I've got a vein there that's really noticeable. And then I like to pull it up this way to kind of give the eye a little bit of a lift. Perfect. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. This combination together is so good. Love it. Okay, I do need to get a little more coverage on that blemish. So I'm gonna take a little more of the concealer and I'm going to just put a little dot on there and kind of feather it around the blemish. Now, when you're covering a blemish like this that's red, the best approach is to put it right on the area kind of let it dry for a second. Give it some time to set, and then go out and gently blend it out with your finger. If you use a sponge, the sponge is going to absorb a lot of that product real quickly. And if you use a brush, it can kind of shear out the product, which is going to make it not give you that same coverage. So I'm going to let it dry for just a minute. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. Oh, there goes a primer. Okay, now that it's had time to dry, I'm gonna gently take my finger and lightly press on top of it. This is just gonna kind of make the product spread out gently and softly. Don't go too hard because then you're gonna kind of take away that coverage. And then once you get the product to spread outside of the redness or the area you want to cover, then you can kind of pull it with your finger to blend it and shear it out. If you go over the pimple, let's just call it what it is. If you go over the pimple like this, it's just going to remove it and shear it out. And you're going to be like, ah, I can still see it. I'm not getting that coverage. So really gently press it until it feathers out, and then take your finger and lightly blend. Obviously make sure your fingers are clean, because then you are kind of making it worse by putting, you know, the dirt and oils from your finger onto a area that is, you know, doesn't need any more dirt and oil. Okay, then next you want to make sure you set everything. I am going to my trusty setting powder. This is the IT Cosmetics Bye Pores powder, and it is one of my favorites for when I need my foundation skin to be matte, and I need it to stay all day. In fact, these two products were in my long wear. I think it was like titled 6 long wear products. Just when I know like this makeup has to look good. Like normally I would prefer to put my makeup on closer to the event, but I really wanted to get this video filmed and make the most of this day work-wise, so I wanted to get my makeup on earlier. Okay, so then I'm gonna take that powder, and I'm using the 108 brush, and first I'm gonna go and set where I had that blemish, where I covered that, and I'm lightly just gonna press on top of that. Then I'm gonna go and I'm gonna set the rest of my face, concentrating underneath the eyes and the center of the face. That is where I tend to produce the most oil. Not under my eyes, but the center of my face I produce the most oil. Setting under the eyes is really to keep the concealer from moving. Not that this one really does, but it's just a step that I always do. And then around my mouth. This powder is so nice. This powder, and I would probably say the number 7 are, if I had to pick 2 powders that are just the best, when you want a matte blurred skin effect, those 2. This one for loose and this number 7 for pressed. Now, if you want a powder that gives more of a natural finish or more of a radiance finish, I mean, this totally mattifies the skin. It makes the pores look smooth. If you don't want something that's gonna mattify that much, I really like, you guys don't be mad, but I really love the La Mer, the powder. It's a $100 powder though, which is crazy. What else do I like? The Hourglass has a good one. Revlon Candid loose powder, that's a good drugstore option. It's gonna matte the skin, but it does it in a much lighter, kind of natural way. Okay, next let's go in and add some bronzer and warm up the face. I'm gonna use the NARS bronzer. This is the Paradise Found bronzer. And do I not have my 103? I don't have my 103. Okay, so I'm gonna use the big ol' 105 brush. This brush is, I like to use this brush mainly for powder foundation, but we're gonna use it for bronzer here. I don't recommend using it for, I don't recommend using it for a bronzer that is really pigmented or really dark, because it is so big. So use it on a lighter bronzer if you're gonna use it for bronzer. So I'm gonna pick up my product, and we are going to kind of buff it. We're gonna start out here next to the hairline and then work our way in. This bronzer is so pretty. You can even kind of just stamp the skin with this brush if you have the right bronzer. Again, you don't want to use something really dark or pigmented. Use something soft and natural, and you can kind of just press it like this, and it does all the work for you. Now, it is pretty big for the forehead if you have a small forehead like me, so I'm actually gonna go back in with the 108 brush. I'm gonna pick up more product with this brush, and I'm gonna work it into my hairline. This is my most used brush. If I had to like pick which brush do I use the most and for the most like applications, and it's this one. I use it for concealer, I use it to set under the eyes, I use it to set the face, I use it for blush, I use it for highlight, now I'm using it for bronzer and contour. I just use it for everything. I feel like we should make more brushes with this similar shape in different sizes, because the 104 is kind of shaped like this, but it's obviously a lot larger. And I feel like we need something in between the two, and we also need some smaller options. Okay, so for brows, I'm gonna use the Kevyn Aucoin brow pencil. I'm excited. I ordered the, I think it's the NYX, or is it Wet n Wild? It's the brow pen that has gone kind of viral on TikTok, and that should be here later this week to try. Apparently, everyone loves that pen, so I'm excited to try that. I placed an order for a few other like kind of viral drugstore products, so that video should be coming soon, depending on when I get these products. All right, I'm just gonna fill this in. My microblading is fading, and I'm debating on going back and getting it done or just leaving it and committing to using brow serum. Okay, this is my question. Have you used a brow serum and have you had any luck with it? I have a lot of luck with lash serums. I've just never used a brow serum consistently enough to say if they actually work or not, but my brows just will not grow. They just will not grow. And so I guess that's why I'm skeptical that a brow serum is going to help, because they just don't grow. They don't. I mean, they grow where I have brows, but I don't get any new growth like outside of those hairs. And I want fuller brows, so I get microblading done. But then someone told me this, and I don't know if this is true, so, take it for what it's worth. But, you can actually damage the hair follicle by microblading because you're cutting into the skin. It could damage the hair follicle, which will make it even harder for your brows to grow. So obviously I don't want to do that, but at the same time, if my brows aren't going to grow, period, then, I'm not really damaging anything. I don't know. I go back and forth, but if you've had luck with a brow serum, please let me know, because I need to get one and I need to just make it part of my nightly routine. I've used one before and then I use it and then I forget, and then, that doesn't do you any good. Okay, then I'm going to go in and fill in with the Benefit Gimme Brow Gel. I was not one of those people that got so lucky that, I feel like we all overplucked our eyebrows. If you're around my age, we all went through that stage where we overplucked our eyebrows, and some of us got lucky and they grew back, and others of us, they did not. I fell into the unlucky bucket. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes. I'm using the Revlon Color Stay Primer. My Trish McEvoy primer is downstairs, so we are gonna go back to this oldie but goodie. And I'm actually gonna take a brush to apply it. I'm gonna use the 206 brush. I'm gonna take it from lash root to the brow. Okay, for eyes, I was going back and forth on which palette I was going to use, but I think I'm going to use them both because they both have shades in it that I want to use. I'm going to use the BK Beauty True Beauty palette. This is my brand. If you're newer to my channel, I'm the founder of BK Beauty. And then I'm going to use the NARS Claudette palette because I just love this palette. It is so, so good. But I'm going to pop into the BK Beauty to grab my transition shade because we're going to start with that first. So the theme of the event that I'm going to tonight is kind of like a summer garden party, and I'm wearing this dress. It's kind of a green, floral print. So I'm going to go in and build my prime color. I call it prime. Little background, I used to be a trainer for MAC like a long, long time ago before YouTube was even a thing. And that's what we called our transition color, was our prime color. Okay, so I'm going to go in and I'm actually going to start with this shade right here. It says Love, and I'm going to build my transition with this shade. It's a good shade for me. I think it's a good shade really for anyone that is fair to tan. And I'm gonna put it right on the outer corner and then kind of work my way in. So I want this look to be really summery. And for me, summery is, but I want it to be a little bit more glam than you think of summer makeup. When I think of summer makeup, I usually keep my makeup pretty light. I keep light shimmery colors on the lid. And I'm definitely gonna have some of that in today's look, but I also wanna have some glam. I'm gonna pop on some lashes. It's an evening event. It's kind of a nice event. Like we bought a table, so I'm hosting 6 friends, or 7, or no, there's 6 of us. I'm hosting 5 friends at our table. And I don't know, I just want to, I want to feel a little extra, not too extra, just a little extra. So I want this look to be kind of summery, golden, bronzy, neutral, all of that good stuff. There is a gold shade in the NARS palette that I am going to use that I actually don't think I've used on camera, and it is so pretty. So I've got my base down. I'm gonna go and deepen it a little bit. And so I'm gonna actually stay in the True Beauty palette. I'm gonna dip into the shade Beauty right here, which is a really warm, kind of orangey brick reddish shade. And I'm gonna pick that up with my 202 brush. And I'm gonna just deepen that outer corner. On me, it leans very warm, kind of similar to the Love, but a little richer. And Love is that first shade we put down. Okay, so I've got my shadow even. I have one eye that is different shape, different size than the other. So I have to take my time kind of evening out the shadow as best as I can. Okay, next I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna add my lid color, and that's when I'm gonna switch over to the NARS Claudette Powder palette. I'm gonna dig into this shade right here. It's a really gorgeous yellowy gold, so metallic, so pretty. So I'm actually, since I have it on my finger, let's just get this off my finger by applying it to the eyelid. Oh, so gorgeous. I am gonna go back in with a brush, but I just wanted to, you know, use that product. So I'm gonna go in with my 203 brush and pick up a little bit more, and I'm going to even things out, really get in this inner corner with that gold, work it over to the outer half of my eyelid, but I'm gonna stop. I don't wanna go over the first shades we laid down since they are matte. I don't want to muddy them up with this real reflective shimmery, so I'm just going to kind of bring it to meet there, and then we're going to transition it later. So the event I'm going to tonight is the Austin Women's Way Awards, and it basically honors and recognizes female entrepreneurs in Austin, or leaders. It doesn't have to be business owners. It can be female leaders, so women that, you know, maybe are CEOs or in a management or leadership role. And they have all these different categories for like social causes or businesses over 3 million, under 3 million, new businesses. And I'm actually on the committee, the judging committee. So I got to read all the applicants and kind of submit my scores. And so I'm super excited for tonight's event. I feel like the Austin community, so Austin Women Magazine is like, I feel like the pioneer in Austin for like building a community of women empowerment. And yeah, it's just Melinda Garvey. She is the founder of Austin Women Magazine, and she's just such an inspiration. So I'm excited about tonight's event. Okay, next I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna take that same 202 brush, and we need to transition this a little bit. I'm gonna use this shade right here. I'm gonna stick to the NARS Claudette palette. We're gonna use this one right here. It actually leans more purple on my skin than it looks in the palette, believe it or not. I mean, it's definitely warm, but it's got a purple vibe to it. Do you guys see that? So I'm gonna kind of pop that in the outer corner, and then I'm gonna work that about midway on the lid. So one, that's gonna deepen up that outer corner. It's also gonna tone down that red and warmth to it. I still have a really warm summery eye here, but it's not as red. Kind of blend back and forth, being careful not to take it too far over since it is dark. If you are a little deeper skin, you can, but on me, I wanna keep it right here on the outer half. I want my eyes to look more open and big, and the way to do that is to keep a lighter reflective shade in the inner corner and your dark matte shade on the outer corner. If you take that dark matte shade over too much, it's just gonna change the look of the makeup, you know? If you have really large eyes and you want to make them a little smaller, that's a great technique, but if you are like me and you want more open, big, wide eyes, then keep that lightness there in the inner corner. Okay, next we're gonna go in and apply a little bit of a brow highlight, and for that I'm actually going to, I have to make things super complicated rather than go into one shade. I'm very particular about my brow highlight. It's gotta be bright. I like it to have a little bit of a shimmer, but not too much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dig into this palette right here, the Claudette, take a little bit of this shade, but then I'm gonna go into the BK Beauty and I'm gonna grab the matte light shade. It's called Beam, and I'm gonna mix those two together, and that's gonna be my brow highlight. The NARS Claudette is a little brighter, so it's gonna give me that brightness that I want, but it's a little too shimmery for my brow highlight, so I'm gonna mix that matte shade to tone that down. I'm just gonna take it underneath my brow, pull it out to extend my brow. Last, I'm gonna take that same shade in the NARS palette. I'm not gonna add any matte to it, and I'm just gonna pop it right here in the inner corner to brighten this area up. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and line my eyes with a black liquid liner and apply some lashes, and I will be right back. Okay, we are back. I have applied lashes and liner on the lower lash line. I did use the Charlotte Tilbury Color Chameleon crayon in the shade Smoky Emerald. I forgot I had this shade. It is this really gorgeous dark olive green. So pretty. I love these. These are so good, you guys. Amber Haze I've been wearing every day, which is like a coppery brown, but this is a really beautiful green. So I did that, and then I added a little bit of the shade I added in my transition color from the BK Beauty palette in Love. I just kind of smoked that out, lined the inner rim with a brightening pencil by Makeup by Mario, and now we're gonna finish with blush and lips. So for blush, I have the Laura Mercier Ginger Blush. It is a really beautiful kind of apricot-y matte blush. I love it. I decided to stick with a matte blush because, you know, it is humid outside and I don't have this event until later. And I already know I'm gonna have a little bit of natural dew and shine, so I didn't wanna add any blush with shimmer. So I'm just gonna use 105 because that's what I have. And I'm gonna kind of smile, get on the apples of my cheek, and then work my way up. That worked. Okay, next we're gonna move on to lips. I have 2 lip products. I'm gonna line my lips with the Persona lip pencil in the shade Almond. I'll show you guys what that looks like. It's a really like kind of pale, spicy color. Just reminds me of like MAC Spice, but a little bit lighter. And then I'm gonna use the NARS lip pigment in the shade American Woman. I'll show you what this looks like. I don't think I've used this yet, or maybe I have. So this is like a really wet liquid formula. I can't remember if I've used this or not in a video. It's really pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply my lip products and let's see how this turns out. This color, Almond, actually looks like my lip color. Just a little more warm. Perfect. All right, and then we're gonna go in with lipstick. If I've used this, I cannot recall how it wears on the lips though. Okay, this is a really thin, wet lip formula. I wanna call this a liquid lipstick. I mean, it feels like a liquid lipstick on the lips. It says lip pigment is what it says. Power matte lip pigment. Okay, so that's gonna have a matte finish. I'm gonna give this a few minutes to set and then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts on it. I definitely feel it setting quickly. I did have a little bit of a lip conditioner down first, so it'll be interesting to see how that affects the dry down. Ooh, it feels good. Definitely matte, real quick, it's matte. It's a good thing that I had a lip conditioner on because it dried down really quick. I just used a little bit of it. It's fully pigmented, opaque. Like you don't wanna put too much of this on. I'm just gonna press my lips together. And this is the finished look. I am ready to go. So now we just have to keep this makeup fresh for another 5 hours and through the night. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll have all the products and shade names listed and linked in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.